Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We're going to talk about going beyond features with Fulcrum's impact on fieldwork. And to do that, I've got two amazing people with me today, Katie Briggs and Adrian Zuniga. They're both in product management at Fulcrum. Let's start talking a little bit about what you're going to see today. First, I'll just do a little bit of stage setting. I'm already in the middle of that now, but I'll just give those of you who are not familiar with Fulcrum a taste of what Fulcrum is all about, and specifically drill down on use cases just a little bit. Now, we chose a specific use case for this webinar, so you could go into a lot of detail. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes as well. And the people who are going to be delivering that demo so that you can really see what's going on are Katie Briggs, who's going to show you the day in the life of the field worker. Now, Katie is a director of product management here. She started her career in construction as a licensed professional engineer, and she quickly focused on transforming the job site through technology. And that's what she does here at Fulcrum too. With over 10 years of experience developing capabilities that drive innovation and efficiency in field operations. Once Katie's all done with the field aspect of what's going on, Adrian is going to be back in the office doing things like managing the workers and the data and the information flow that comes from all of the activity that's going on out there in the field. Adrian is a senior product manager here at Fulcrum. He's got experience across the full product lifecycle, and he also focused on solving real-world challenges through thoughtful, data-driven product development. I think it's so important for both Katie and Adrian to really focus on what is the data telling us. They use customer insights and strategic analysis to build capabilities that move the needle on business outcomes. So that's what we're working with today. That's the basic roadmap for what we're going to do today. Let me just spend a couple more minutes talking about the reason that we did some of the things that we did today. First, let's talk about the problem that we're trying to solve. And if you look at this gentleman who's out in the field right now, he looks like he's got technology, but it's actually hindering him as much as it's helping him, right? He's got a laptop out. He's like not exactly comfortable with it. He's talking to somebody on the phone because he's got what he's doing on the laptop isn't good enough. This is a really common situation that field teams struggle with some inefficient tools that cause more frustration than they actually help the person out in the field. Fulcrum's platform is field first, and it's focused exclusively on boosting productivity and streamlining operations. Every single thing that we do is focused on solving that problem. How do we boost productivity and streamline operations? And you'll see a ton of that going on today. Now, the fact that we are so field focused means we've really drilled down on some specific use cases, some specific capabilities that are great for use cases that field workers frequently encounter. One of the things that I'd like to point out is that these characteristics focus on field process management and data collection. We're not just about capturing data, we're about doing it as part of an overall process that requires consistency and rigor, as well as flexibility to change it when necessary. Some of the specific things we need to do is be able to standardize across a wide range of use cases. If a company invests in Fulcrum, then they need to know that they can use Fulcrum across a wide range of different kinds of situations. And each individual situation has to be standardized in its own right. Having said that, very often we find that the initial process that we created is not exactly what's needed. Maybe you've got a new customer coming on board. Maybe there's some other kind of requirement that wasn't anticipated because of a regulatory change, or who knows what it might be. That customization is really important. So the standardization and the rigor and the customization and flexibility are both critically important to field organizations. And then finally, we know we're not the only platform that field organizations work with. We need to be able to integrate with things like asset management or field service management and that sort of thing. So all of these characteristics are really critically important. Let's go down one level from that. What are the specific requirements then that we have to deal with? One of those is GIS. If it's going to be for the field, we need to integrate very carefully with, for example, Esri ArcGIS. We need to be able to do GIS activities on our own, capturing lines, polygons, things like that. You'll see later. We need a certain amount of flexibility within the apps themselves. You'll see how that flexibility gets built in. And then finally, extensibility. If you have a single process that you're engaged in, you need to be able to take that process and extend it to reach other systems, to have additional requirements captured, to new technologies like field tech, things like drones and sensors and things of that sort. So we require all of those different kinds of capabilities. Given those characteristics, we had a number of possibilities that we looked at for doing a demonstration for you today, and you see some of them here. Some of them are very involved. Confined spaces permitting, for example, is a really deeply involved process. Asset inventories requires a lot of connection into asset management systems and so on. There's a ton of stuff we could do. What we chose to look at was vegetation management for a couple of reasons. First, because vegetation management is something that puts a significant amount of stress on field tools. If you have a tool that's designed to just do data capture, sometimes you don't get the kind of process rigor that you need, and so on. I won't go into detail there, but we find that customers who use Fulcrum for vegetation management really put Fulcrum through the paces, and that's something that Fulcrum does better than other competitors, which is why they joined us on that particular journey. So that stress on field tools is number one. Second, it's common across multiple industries. If you're working in water or electricity or transportation or whatever it may be, odds are pretty high that somewhere in your organization you've got a strong vegetation management requirement. Third, the people who do vegetation management don't think of themselves as data collectors. They're not inspectors going out to inspect something. They're wielding chainsaws and herbicides and things of that sort. So for them, it's really more about the process. And we want to think about what we're doing as a process, even when it is data collection. So that process becomes really important. And then finally, something we're not going to really see in the demo today, but that is really important in these use cases is integration requirements. We very often find that, again, you've got when you're doing vegetation management, there are a number of people who need to know what's going on there. It affects scheduling, it affects asset management, it affects a ton of different things. So those integration requirements are really important. Unfortunately, we don't really have the time to scope that in for today's presentation. So with all that in mind, you're going to see a whole bunch of things, and we'd like you to pay attention for, in particular, for a couple of new things that have come out, especially if you're familiar with Fulcrum already. We've just launched our new location editor. You're going to see that. We have the ability to do bulk delete, change, and assign within Fulcrum now. That bulk capability is really helpful. You may have seen what we talked about with audio fast fill, but now there's an AI prompt in there that's going to help shape what happens within audio fast fill. Very cool stuff. We're going to show you how to restore a record from record history, geodatabase support, and finally feature service layer editing on the web. So keep your eyes open for those 6 features that you may not have seen before. And with that, I would like to get out of the way and let Katie take over by showing us the what it's like to be a field worker in who uses Fulcrum. Katie, if you have control.
Okay,
yes,
great. Thanks, Jake. Hopefully you can see my screen now.
We're good.
Looks like we can. Okay, as Jake mentioned, I'm going to show the kind of day for the field worker. And today my task is to do vegetation management. So I'm going to hop into my vegetation management app. And first thing I need to do is identify which pole I need to do vegetation management around. So this is it. We're going to use the use case where there's utility poles that need vegetation management. And I know I need to go to pole 263, 678. It's pretty easy to identify. First of all, the red ones are ones that I haven't visited, so I can focus in on those. But I also have my pin labels turned on, so I can see the pole ID right there on the map. Now, as I get ready to start my work, I want to get a little bit more information about the area I'm working in. So I'm going to go ahead and log into ArcGIS, and this will allow me to pull down any feature service layers that I have access to. And so just like that, now I can find a feature service layer about the parcels in this area and turn that on. This is going to show me the live data from Esri, but of course I can download this for offline use as well. Okay, so now as I zoom out, you can see some gray boundary lines around each of the parcels. And as I tap on the one where I'm going to be working, I can pull up the information about this parcel. Again, this is the live data from ArcGIS. And in particular, I want to know who the owner is of this particular site. And so I find it, I think it was actually at the top here. The owner is the utility, and that's going to help me figure out that I don't need kind of access to private property on this particular site, and that's going to allow me to do my work a little bit more easily. Okay, there it is, the owner, the Vermont Transco LLC. And so now as I approach my work, I know it's going to be a little bit easier. I have that additional information from ArcGIS, and now I can get going. I'm going to zoom in here. One thing I noticed is that the location of this pole is a little bit inaccurate. So the first thing I'm going to do is relocate this pin. And to do that, I'm going to tap on the locate button at the bottom right, and this is going to take us into our new location editor. And right within here, it's going to take me by default into tap mode. So with tap mode, anywhere I tap on the screen, it's going to place that point. I can also press and hold to get a magnified view to more precisely place the point. We also have target mode. So target mode can be turned on, which adds this target in the middle of the screen, and that allows me to just kind of pan and zoom, and then I can touch anywhere on the screen to drop the point. We've also updated this experience to work seamlessly in landscape mode and portrait mode. Right now I'm in landscape mode. Down at the bottom left, we can also enter in coordinates manually. So if I have the specific coordinates, I could enter those in as well. So a few different ways for users to get precise locations and document those in the field. So now that I have updated the location, I'm going to take a look at this record, and there's a lot of information that's already been pre-filled for me. So this weather information is coming in from weatherapi.com. I don't need to manually enter in that weather information. Additionally, the parcel information has been loaded, and this has been loaded using a newer data event we released last year called Load Records. Load Records allows you to grab record information from records in a separate Fulcrum app, even when offline. So we have another app with this parcel information, and based on the location of my current record, it's bringing in that parcel information for me. So again, something else I don't have to fill out. The poll information has also been preloaded. So all I really need to do is focus on the vegetation management. Okay, so from the satellite imagery, I didn't see a lot of vegetation, but now that I'm out in the field, I can see that it's grown a lot since that imagery has been taken. And so vegetation management is needed for the asset. I know from the information in the feature service layer that access to private property is not needed. And let's just say it's not in an environmentally sensitive area. So I'm going to take some photos of the work or of the site before I start the work. And I'm sure you can tell this is not actually a tree, but this is a portrait of me that my daughter has made. And it's automatically been timestamped to help show that I was there when I said I was. And I can also add some markups. Again, this is before photos, so I want to add some markups of what I'm going to do before I do it. And to do this, I'm actually going to use my Apple Pencil. So Fulcrum seamlessly integrates. If you use a tablet pen on iOS or Android, it's a little bit easier for some users just to kind of mark up or even add information to their record. So I can add kind of scribbles. I can also add some more professional looking markups like an arrow. And once I've documented what I'm going to do, I'll save that. And that photo, along with the markups and the timestamps and the geolocation, is now all documented. Now I can continue to work in Fulcrum with the Apple Pencil. So we're going to do some tree trimming and some brush clearing. And I can also just write into some text fields here. And that gets converted to text. I'm going to take an after photo. And again, that's timestamped, geo, and geolocated. So it's really easy for me to prove that I was there when I said I was. Okay, so I've done my vegetation management, and I was able to do that really easily by bringing in information from feature service layers. I was able to update the location of the pole. A lot of the information in the record was preloaded for me. So I really just got to focus on the work that I was doing. Now I'm going to log a couple observations. While I was doing my work, I noticed that some of the fence was down at the power station right next to me. So I'm going to click new to log an observation. This is actually going to take me to a separate observation app that's linked to that vegetation management app. And this allows anyone across our different teams to log observations in a central place while incorporating it into their regular workflow. And to do this, I'm going to use our AI-powered audio fast fill feature. This will allow me to speak to what I'm seeing, and then the form will intelligently be filled out, whether it's one field or multiple fields as I do that. The description: fence is down near the power station. Risk level is high. Status is reported. And I'm just going to pause it there before I send it to show you one of the enhancements we've made since we initially released Audio Fast Fill is we added this transcript. So I can see what Fulcrum is kind of understanding as I speak. And so if I need to rephrase something because it misunderstood, I could do that. Looks like everything there was accurately captured. And so we'll just let Audio Fast Fill do its thing. We've also worked on speeding up the process. You can see that happen really fast, and making the responses more accurate. Okay, so let's go ahead now and just document where the fence is down. And so I'm going to tap on the lower right to go to our location editor again. And I live in California, so it's taking me to California, but our demo is in Vermont. So let me get back there real quick. 25 Fisher Road, Fairfax. Okay, here we go. And what I want to do is down here at the bottom left, you'll see this geometry switcher. So this is one of the other enhancements we've made with the new location editor. It's really easy just to choose which geometry you need, making it a little bit clearer. And I am in tap mode, which is that default mode, so I can quickly tap to add the points for the line where the fence is down. Now I made a little mistake, I added some extra points. That's no worries. We now also have the undo and redo buttons at the top right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You can see the length is updating as I go. And so just a little bit more information out in the field for me. Just like with point mode, I also with the points, we have the tap mode, which I was in, which allows you to very quickly add your points. You could also use target mode to add some additional precision to your points. Okay, so we'll go ahead. That's been located. So now it's really clear where the fence is down. That observation is linked to my vegetation management record. I'll save that. And as I'm leaving the site, though, I notice that the road is washed out as I'm driving away. So I'm going to add another observation. This time I'll do it in the just standalone observation app, not linked to my vegetation management record. And so here I'll tap to add a new one. Description, fences down. Oh, that was the wrong one. Let's trash that. That was the last observation. Description, the road is washed out. Risk level is medium. Okay. And again, I'm going to add where this is. This time this is going to be a polygon. And we can quickly tap to add where that road is washed out. The area is updating as I do that, and I can very quickly document that. Now let's say as I'm getting back into my truck, this aggressive dog starts to come at me from the neighboring property. So I'm going to add a note here to this observation about that dog. And I'm a little scared at this point, so I may not say the most professional things. Observation note, this crazy dog, this pit bull, dang on it, pit bull came at me and tried to kill me. I'm so upset right now, I might quit my job. Okay, so you might notice that what was filled in was a little bit different than what I said. And that's because Adrian back in the office, he knows I can get a little bit wild with my language. And so he added an AI prompt for this field to make it sound professional. So no matter what I will say, it's going to fill in as something more professional, and then it'll be okay to, share with others in the company or with our client and that kind of thing. Okay, so that wraps up my part of the demo. And so at this point, I'm going to share or change presenter to Adrian so he can show the workflow in the back office.
Thank you, Katie. I think I'm sharing my screen now.
Yes, I see it.
Perfect. So that was really great what Katie showed. It really shows the power of Fulcrum in the field. And now let's see how it helps folks in the back office, and the role I'll be playing is a supervisor. So as part of the vegetation management team, I validate field data, I prioritize work, I gotta ensure the quality, I gotta assign tasks, and then also integrate the data with other systems. So Fulcrum's web platform is really my command center. So I'm going to start right here in the observation app, and this is where all of the field observations from many different applications are collected. So any hazards that crews are running into out in the field. So this is really where the most critical information is, and it's up to date. So let me really quickly just refresh, make sure that I got all of the records that Katie recorded. And yeah, before jumping in to any of these records, I'm going to quickly just reemphasize the importance of those linked records, the linked record feature that Katie highlighted. So she was in the vegetation management app, but was able to record these observations, which then automatically populated records in this observation app. So this is where everything comes together, and I've got one place for all the observations. So at first glance here, I can see there's quite a few polygons that are here, and I notice there's a few road washouts. I'm going to come up to this one up here. You notice Katie was in her office, so wasn't able to record a video, but this is a video I was able to record earlier today. And I don't live in Vermont either, but you can imagine this would be a video of a road washout. There was recently a storm, and the reason I'm highlighting this is our video track feature, which can be really powerful for helping folks in the back office get better context and spatial awareness of what folks are seeing out in the field. So as I play the video, you can see I am walking down the road here, and you can actually see the kind of cone field of view over here. If I zoom in, I can actually change the orientation, kind of zoom around, and just get a much better spatial awareness of the surroundings. So I can kind of see what's happening out in the field, where they were facing when they're taking the video and where the issue actually is. All right, so that's great. I'm gonna close that out. So now what I'm gonna do is refine the polygon here. So, you know, as folks are out in the field capturing an area, you know, this is great just to kind of get the general area of the work that needs to be done. But as a person in the back office, I really want to get a much more accurate representation of the area that needs to be serviced. So what I'm going to do is go into edit mode here. Now that I'm in edit mode, I can edit this polygon by easily dragging and dropping the vertices. You see midpoints here. That helps me just quickly add more points. I'm going to just align this to the feature of the road. And, you know, it seems like I'm getting pretty close to private property here. So what I'm going to do is log into ArcGIS, similar to the way that Katie did. I'm already logged in on ArcGIS Online, so it recognized that. And now I have access to all the layers that I would have in that ArcGIS account. So I'm going to quickly search for those Franklin County danger parcels, activate that layer. Okay, so now you'll see there was that thin line that popped into my my map view here, and I want to align this polygon here to the parcel. We don't really want to go onto private property to do this work. We just want to kind of service this section here leading to the road. So the way that you can get really precise here is you know, I could fiddle all day, try to get it perfect, but it's not actually snapping to that feature that's coming down from ArcGIS Online. So what I'm going to do is open the settings here, and you'll see I've now got snapping settings available to me. So I can enable this danger parcels layer as one of the snap sources. Once I do that, now as I drag the vertices, I can see that it's snapping to that parcel line there. So I can be confident that the area is exactly lined up. So this geometry is now calculating in real time the area. We actually have that populating one of the fields down here. This really helps with accurate estimates for costs and time and material. So that looks pretty good. Let me fix this over here, and I'll move on to my next observation now. Let's see. So this is the road washout that Katie just mentioned. Again, you know, I could come in here and quickly update the shape. Clicking on it once will get you into this mode where you can kind of scale or rotate the shape. Clicking on it again gets you to that mode where you're editing the vertices. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. And you know, I notice here, oh wow, so there's an observation here about this aggressive pit bull. Wow, that's not good. I definitely want to record that in our danger parcels layer. So since I still have that enabled, I can click on this layer here. This is the house or the property that Katie was talking about, and I'll come in here and edit at this layer. So looks like I forgot to clear the note, but I'll just update it. I'll just say aggressive dog, updating that. That's now saving to the feature in ArcGIS Online. So that layer is now updated, and any of our field crews now have this information, you know, if they're coming back into this area. Okay, so that just shows how powerful it is. From Fulcrum, I can quickly update the geometries on this end and even edit features in ArcGIS Online without having to switch between applications. Okay, now that I've kind of gone through and reviewed the observations in this area. My next task is to assign and change the status so that a field or one of the service teams can go out there and actually perform the work. So instead of going into these records one by one and editing the status or reassigning, we have a new feature for bulk actions. So I could easily change the status or the assignment, or even delete these records. So what I'm going to do is quickly change the status from reported to ready for work. It's going to ask me to confirm the number of records that I'm updating so that I don't accidentally make a mistake. And that's going to kick off a process. You can always click on this little clock up here to view the progress, but I also wanted to change the assignment as well. I'm going to jump in here, and let's say that Jake is the supervisor that I'm assigning all these records to. Okay, great. So now that I've kicked off those processes, it'll take a second. I'm only updating 7 records here, but we support up to 10,000 records at a time. So this should save you a lot of time and effort making those updates. Okay, so it looks like everything just updated for me. So I want to really quickly also just highlight something that if you're a Fulcrum user, you may not have been aware of. We have column summaries down here at the bottom. So if you click on this last row in the table, you'll get these additional options here for just kind of counting blank or not blank or unique values. So I can use this to really quickly just help me do kind of a spot check and sanity check on my data here. If it's a date field, you can actually activate this histogram here. And what's really cool about that is you can even come into this filters on the column header itself and use these sliders here to narrow down to a date. Let's say there was a big storm, and I just want to look at the records that were in that time frame, that the observations that came out of that. Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, though, I'll leave it open. And now that I've made these updates, I'm realizing, oh shoot, there is a record here that looks like it's incomplete, doesn't have a description. That was probably still in progress. It's this one up here. So what I'm going to do is really quickly come into the history view for this record. So this is a new feature that we are about to launch. Once you get to the record history page here, you'll notice there's now a little button in this top row here of the versions. So as I come and scan here, I think, you know what, I want to get back to this status here, version 15, where Kyle was the assignee and it was in progress. I think I accidentally updated it from there. So what I can do is just click on that. It's going to ask me to confirm. Basically what that's going to do is take the data from that version and create a new version of that record, and you'll see there's a little restored label that gets attached to it. Now that I have that, that was really easy. I can jump back into my data viewer here. So, and I'll probably just need to update to see that change. There we go. Okay, so now that I have all of these observations, I want to share this with the broader company or potentially a client. So they want the observations as a feature service layer in ArcGIS. So there'd be a couple ways of doing this, but the easiest way would be to save a saved filter. So I can apply additional filters here. Let's say I want just the records from the last 7 days, and I only want to really share what's ready for work or in progress. So with those filters applied, I can save that filter, I can name it observations. If I don't make this public, this is only available to me, and I can come back to this filtered view very easily from the Fulcrum navigation. If I make it public, I now have these options for sharing a URL in these various formats. So you can create a CSV or any of these layer types. For my use case here, I'm going to use a feature service layer, and I'm going to choose all geometries because I've got a mixture of lines and points, lines, and polygons. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, confirm, and I'll show you how easy that is to just view in ArcGIS Online. I'm going to come in here, add a layer from URL. Just takes a second to pull that up, and here we go. So it's going to pull in the geometries, and here are, now I have all my observations in ArcGIS Online. So this is, again, super powerful way to get Fulcrum data into your GIS system and to share externally. Okay. I'll also just quickly highlight there's other methods to extracting your data. So the save filters is the best way to share live dynamic data. So as things change in the field, it's automatically updating that feature service layer. But if you needed a static file download of your data, you can easily do that here. I want to highlight that geodatabase is a new format that we're now supporting by popular demand. You can obviously include your media files as well as reports as part of those downloads. So yeah, in a few minutes, I was able to very quickly review the data from these observations, validate it, make a few updates. I used the geometry editor to update those shapes. I used snapping to make sure that we weren't going into private property. Used filtering and bulk editing to quickly apply changes and reassign. I made a mistake and just used the record history view to very quickly undo that. And then, was able to share that data with the broader company. So yeah, again, just highlighting the power of Fulcrum and both the back office and the field. So with that, I'll kick it back over to Jake.
Hopefully we're seeing my last slide here. I don't have a lot more to say. There you go. First, I want to thank Katie and Adrian for doing such a great job of showing off so much stuff. Like the amount of capability you showed packed into that amount of time, that half hour, was really impressive. And you can reach out to either one of them at their email addresses here. It's pretty simple, first name dot last name at fulcrumapp.com. I'd also like to invite anyone who is going to one of these upcoming events to come and join us for those events. And I'll leave these up on the screen for a couple of minutes while we do some questions and answers, just to make sure that we've got you've got the opportunity to write down where they are. Let's go to questions, and we did get some that have come in already. We're of course very happy. We've got plenty of time, so we're very happy to take more questions from anybody who'd like to ask any. A couple of them are pretty straightforward. Two of them, let's start off with Apple Pencil support. Katie, apparently that made an impression. One person asked, what plan do I need to get Apple Pencil support? And another person asked, does that Apple Pencil functionality work with Android devices and styluses as well?
Okay, I can take that one, Jake. Any of our plans will come included with the pencil or tablet pen support. And it does work on Android as well. I actually have a Samsung tablet in addition to an iPad, and I was using it on my Samsung tablet a couple days ago as well. It may depend on your specific device, but what functions your pen has with that. But in general, if it works with your device, it'll work with Fulcrum as well. And it comes with all our plans.
Great, thank you. And Adrian, you just showed the I'm kind of working from the end of the webinar backwards a little bit, but you just showed an app's saved filter as a CSV. It creates a link that opens in a web browser. The question is there a way to have these open in an Excel spreadsheet? That's from Darren.
Yes, yeah, I believe so. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, so I can't show you at this moment, but I know that we can do that, or there would be a way.
Okay, got a question going back a little bit further. Katie, this came in while you were doing your demo, and on the screen it showed approximately geolocation accuracy. So Michael wants to know, where does the approximate geolocation accuracy information come from? Device antenna, satellite signal, etc.
Yeah, Adrian, you might be the better person to answer that one.
Yeah, so the GPS location, Fulcrum is reading the device's GPS location. So it's coming from the device.
So basically your iPhone is telling you what the accuracy is?
Correct, yes.
Okay, cool. I may need to shut off my screen share here because someone else just asked, just lost the, how did Adrian, since you were back in the office, how did you make audio fast fill clean up Katie's language? Is that something you could show?
Yeah, absolutely. So just reshare my screen here. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the app builder here, click edit app button. And so this field was the one that she was filling out here, this observation notes. And this is the AI prompt. So all of our fields now have this AI prompt feature with it. So you can really customize and give the AI a little bit more instruction on what to do with the information. So here it's a very simple prompt to just make this sound more professional. But you could imagine, if it's, potentially you might be recording data in different units. You could put something like, make convert feet to meters, or we've seen customers, add various kind of specific instructions for their industries. Let's say, you're doing an HVAC inspection and you've got a bunch of different manufacturers that are very specific, and the AI might not always hear the right thing. So just giving it little clues like that can really help with the data quality.
Cool. It's interesting that such a simple prompt makes such a significant difference when you consider how badly Katie was speaking too. That's kind of cool. Another question came in regarding data, and this goes back early on as well. I have data that I want to pre-fill into a Fulcrum app, but I don't have them in another Fulcrum app. So Katie, you were talking about a new data event that enables you to do that. So I think that's what he's keying off of here. He says most of it's in Maximo, some of it's in a spreadsheet. What are the ways I can preload data before sending the team out? It's kind of a general integration question, maybe. Who wants that one?
I can take that one.
Sure.
So a lot of our customers, they'll simply use our importer if they've got it in a spreadsheet, either to, you could have, a spreadsheet with thousands of rows, and each of those, when imported, will become a record in Fulcrum. And so you can either create new records, or if you have existing Fulcrum records that you just want to update, maybe with the information from Maximo, you could import it in that way. We also have an operational API. So if you want more of a live connection, you can integrate Fulcrum with Maximo, and then you can have that information from Maximo update your records in real time. So a few different options, and we'd definitely be happy to help walk you through those in more detail.
Cool. If you have questions about that, please give another, put another question into the box, but do it quickly because we only got one question left. So if you're out there and you have questions you haven't asked yet, we have plenty of time, so feel free to give us more. This next one is from Ahmad, who says, is the app useful in collecting orientation items like dip or azimuth? I don't know enough about that. But I mean, we were showing azimuth when you were walking, when you were showing the geo tracking on the video, right, Adrian?
Yeah, correct. And I guess, it depends on how accurate you need to be. We're, again, just reading the device's information on lat long and altitude. So if you need that to be more accurate, you may need a high accuracy GPS device.
Yeah, and I will add, we do collect orientation from the photos and videos, so that will display within Fulcrum. But we might need a little bit more information and to dig into this on exactly what you're looking for.
I know I've talked to a customer who uses that orientation capability, the ability to see where they're looking and where they are to make sure that they're not doing something fraudulently. It's doing inspections of, in that case, it's not very glamorous, but inspections of like portable porta potties. And being able to show that they were inspected correctly was really important for sanitary reasons. And they made sure that it's not a glamorous job, so they need to make sure that people were doing it correctly, and they would look at the point and they would look at where those people were facing to make sure that they were doing it correctly. Hopefully that helps. If you need more detail, please let us know. Chris asks, is there a way to trigger the audio fill by a voice prompt similar to iPhone saying, "Hey Siri"? Do we want to address this right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the moment, no, but this is on our roadmap. In fact, we want to expand voice interactions across the app and truly make a more hands-free experience, because we've heard a lot of great feedback from audio fast fill. Just in, I was talking to a utility and they were working in February in a northern state, and they wanted to keep their gloves on while they did their work, and audio fast fill enabled them to do that. But there's still more interactions, to navigate across the app. And we want to enable that by voice in the future, including starting an audio fast fill.
We can consider a quick sneak peek, but there'll be a big announcement about more on the roadmap and how this all comes together at the Esri User Conference later this year. Got a couple other questions have come in. Thank you very much for your participation, everybody. I'm going to stick with the one that just came in on audio fast fill. Does it have to be connected to cellular service, or could you record the audio and have it sync later when back in the area of service?
Yes, today you have to be connected to cellular service or the internet to use audio fast fill. We are exploring options to get the AI to work on device and offline, and we're closely monitoring kind of the advancements in AI models that are coming out to determine when we can utilize functionality on device that is accurate enough, is fast enough, and works in a reliable way. So it's on our radar, and we're looking to take advantage and get it to work offline. But at the moment, you do need a connection to do it.
One of the things that, as a marketing guy who doesn't actually build product, I have to just say my appreciation for what these two have to put up with all the time, because the landscape is changing so quickly. And the technologies and capabilities are changing so quickly that they're constantly responding to not only the customer demand like this, what would customers like, but what's currently possible given current technology. And it's a phenomenal rate of change. So great job to both of you for the work that you do there. Couple more questions. Locations can be enabled and made required for repeatable fields. Sorry, I didn't read this question ahead of time, Katie and Adrian, sorry, but is there a way to make the field user required to update the record using the locate update tool? We have observations being added, and the locations get added where they hit the button, but need the crews to update when not using GPS units. So that sounds like a very specific workflow question regarding how when you capture the location when you're updating a record. Did you all, was that clear enough for either of you, or you want to address that, or do we need more clarification? We can come back to you, Darren, on that too.
Yeah, I think I can take that one. You should be able to trigger the location update upon like the save. For example, I think that's kind of what this is getting at. And to do that, if you reach out to our support team, we can give you specific instructions.
This sounds like another kind of workflow question. I'll raise it, and then we can decide whether we need to ask it or answer it here, or whether we can we should address it later. This is from Peter. How do we use Fulcrum to provide corrections or updates to our GIS data, such as which customer addresses are connected to a transformer or pole? Can you show the data flow for that, and can photos be used? I think there's a lot of yeses in the answer to that question, but it might come down to the specific way you choose to do it. Would either of you like to address that question? No?
Yeah, the answer is yes. It's definitely possible. You can use data events to pull in information and automatically populate from different sources, whether that be a different app or even a layer.
And we certainly have people who are using Fulcrum, a specific app in Fulcrum, to go out and collect certain kind of geospatially specific information. So maybe it's part of their asset management workflow. They're supposed to inspect a certain transformer. They take that information about the transformer, they get a location on it, and all that data gets synced to the appropriate places. So some of that would go back to, say, Maximo, some of that would go to ArcGIS, and you can collect all of that information as part of an app. So that's certainly possible to do. And you can use photos, like if you want people to take a photo of the faceplate, the nameplate rather, of the transformer to make sure you've got the identification correctly, all that kind of good stuff. Short answer is yes. The data flow for that, again, probably depends more on your requirements than anything else. You got enthusiastic. Love the batch update status tool more recently added. So good stuff there. Is there a plan to add batch update to data fields? Helpful for preloading features and for getting one of the fields that's driving form requirements and views. Can we address that part of the roadmap?
Yes, so we do plan to extend the bulk functionality, bulk actions to all field types. That is on our long-term roadmap, so I can't give you an exact timeline at this point.
And we got an enthusiastic, again, thanks for hosting the session. So we don't do this very often, Katie and Adrian, but it sounds like we may want to do this more frequently. Very happy to have everybody online today. We appreciate all of you coming on. We know you had an hour that you could have spent in some other way and you spent with us, and we really appreciate that. If there's stuff that you heard today that you'd like to know more about, please do reach out to us, to your customer service reps. If you're not yet a Fulcrum customer, reach out, go to fulcrumapp.com and start to engage with us. But we are very happy to have you on board. And Katie and Adrian, as always, not only are you, brilliant and intelligent and all that kind of good stuff, but you're also really wonderful people. So it's a pleasure doing a webinar with you like this. And I look forward to the next one. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, everyone.